Welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna do Rise of the Beast movie review.
We don't have any Funko Pops. Well, Funko is going to make Pops for the movie, but they're not out yet. As per tradition, we're gonna start off with no spoilers, and then spoilers, and then we show off the stuff. Obviously, if you have not seen the movie, you can obviously stick around for the first half, and then screw off for the second half. Bayverse fans, before you start commenting on the video, this is a reboot. This is not going to be your Michael Bay Transformers film, so we're going to have to look at it from a very different perspective. First and foremost, what do we think of the movie?
I'm gonna say it's 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10?
5 out of 10.
5! Well, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 as well.
Action scenes are good. Everything else, it's kind of mid. So, the story and the overall plot is just, it's fine. It's nothing interesting. It's okay, I think. It's like, some of the plot points are kind of like cliche. Their abilities don't get used. And there were some moments that were like very anime style, like friendship power. It's not a bad movie, but it's not great either.
I think it's a 7 out of 10 because from watching the Michael Bay movies, they are pretty bad. So when seeing this movie, it goes above my expectations. Usually the Michael Bay movies focus on the humans, but this movie, they focus on the actual Transformers. And that's what the title of the movie says. It's The Transformers. Yeah, there's a bit of Michael Bay stuff in this movie, like Optimus Prime being aggressive. From watching the trailer, like, I was surprised that Unicron was the main bad guy, not like the Predacons, which are like the descendants of the Decepticons who are in the Beast Wars TV show.
I personally think the movie was okay. It was definitely better than Bumblebee. I'm a little bit more open-minded when it comes to the Michael Bay movies. Yes, the last one was garbage. I can stand by that. I do like Dark of the Moon the best. I feel like that was, and a lot of people would agree, it made the most money from the series. Yes, the Michael Bay movies focus a lot on the humans, specifically the US military. As we know from all those movies, there was a significant presence of the military fighting the Decepticons way more than the actual Autobots. For this movie in particular, yes, there are human characters, but mainly we focus on 2 of them, which is good because they actually play alongside the Transformers, rather than the other way around, which happens most of the time in the Bay movies.
Well, Bumblebee takes place in the 80s. This movie takes place in the 90s.
Same universe, right?
Yeah, same universe.
Okay.
Different from the Michael Bay.
So it's the same Bumblebee you see in the Bumblebee
Yeah.
movie. We got to see a lot more robot-on-robot action, which is what most fans are paying their hard-earned money to see when it comes to this movie. So I think the movie is pretty good, and I do recommend you to go watch it. So
when you look at the critic scores, they're going to be like 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10. It's like the same situation as the Mario movie. Like the critics don't know what they're talking about, and they're not
listen to the critics.
Their expectations are like looking for an Oscar-winning movie, but that's not what this movie is. It's a Transformers movie. You're gonna have fun watching it. So if you're looking at like a critic's view, I don't know what you're doing watching this movie.
Critics have never been taking things seriously, so it's hard to believe some of the things they say. That's all we gotta say for the non-spoilers, obviously. Now, we're going straight into Decepticon territory and talk about spoilers.
In every like TV show or Transformers media, names have been switched around a lot. So when you hear Terracons, in one TV show, they were like mechanized zombies. They just like to replace names, also because of like licensing issues. Like they can't use a certain name, so they just take one character's name and just plop it in there. So the Terracons, they are the villains. They are minions of Unicron, which is a big planet-eating robot that transforms, but it didn't transform in this movie. It was just a big planet. So the main villain was Scourge. In this movie, after he kills an enemy, he likes to take their insignia or their symbol they wear and weld it to his body. So you'll see a lot of like symbols. You'll see like Autobots, Decepticons, of course not Terracons, but you'll see Predacons and Maximals. He kills, I think his name is Ape Lynx.
The first gorilla.
Yeah, the first gorilla. And he welds his insignia on him. That whole mask he's wearing, that's the logo of the Terracons. The other minions is Nightbird. The other one is Battletrap. I like his fighting style. When they were at the museum trying to get the object, which is the transwarp key, he has this big mace thing. He like throws out a column and then he chucks the column at like the Autobots. It uses the environment to his advantage. The Maximals are on this planet, their home world. They're protecting this object, which is the key everybody's trying to get to. Yeah, so the transwarp key, that's like a hint. The word transwarp is used in the Beast Wars TV show, and it's like a cool reference. So this transwarp key allows you to go through time and space. So they were protecting it from Unicron. Ape Lynx dies from defending it from Scourge, and the Maximals like go away to Earth and hide.
Okay, yeah, what do you think of our human character?
His brother is sick, he's jobless. He's trying to get monies to pay for his little brother's hospital bills. And then how they get involved with the Transformers is like they go to a museum, the transwarp key is lighting up. Yeah, also, I have no idea what triggered the transwarp key to break when she was examining the statue.
She, as in the other main character,
Yeah,
who is the archaeologist.
Like when they were transporting it from there, I'm surprised it didn't break. And then when she started examining it, it just like activated. They sent the Autobot something to get the key. The key's not there. The Primals, the Maximals.
Yeah.
They already had the key, so they were useless there. At the end of the movie, they sent them to stop Unicron from getting through the portal. Well, the portal thing got blew up, so the girl's useless there. The guy fused with Mirage. That part was also kind of cringy.
That's the one cringy part that I found. Yeah, it was when Mirage fused with the guy and he became Iron Man, pretty much.
Mirage could have fought that by himself if he wasn't trying to protect it. I don't know.
Also, like, when Optimus Prime was getting sucked into the planet, this little human is able to hold Optimus Prime's axe and keep him.
Well, he has Mirage's parts, but even then,
doesn't look like
when Primo grabbed him, that was way more realistic. Speaking of Primo, what do you think of the Maximals?
So the Maximals, the colors of them are like grayscale. Well, you could identify who is who, but it's just all gray.
There was a period in the final battle when they transformed into their other forms, and that's when they utilized their battle weapons the best. Airazor, yes, yeah. So she was mostly present in the beginning, and then she was hit by a corruption dart from Scourge, which slowly turned her mind against the Autobots and the Maximals, and she basically became brainwashed. Was on the Terracon side, but she was still able to resist some of the time, resist the urge. And when she couldn't control herself and started attacking, number one, the archaeologist, and then Primo had no choice but to kill her. And she was, the whole time, she was reassuring him, it's okay, just kill me. It's fine. We must do we gotta do what you gotta do to protect the key. I guess that was like the one emotional part of the movie. Was, Primo being forced to kill one of his friends.
The dart thing and the disease Airazor got reminded me of cosmic rust. It was like, it's a disease from the original Transformers TV show, where like the Transformers literally just like rust into like ash.
He only uses that ability one time, and they never do it again. Just kind of...
You could have easily corrupted all the Maximals with me.
Assuming it takes time, I guess he couldn't in the final battle.
He said in the beginning, Optimus Prime maintains his like Michael Bay personalities. This Optimus Prime is much more, more guilty of himself because he blames himself for the failure for losing Cybertron. So when the opportunity comes to fight, he doesn't hold back his punches. He goes all out. The first confrontation between the Autobots and the Terracons, the Optimus immediately goes for Scourge. He heads for the leader. And eventually Scourge beats Optimus, but then Bumblebee sacrifices himself. None of us saw it coming. Like, that was definitely a surprise, to be sure. Of course, Bumblebee comes back later on, but we'll get into that in a bit. But that was another thing added on to Optimus's guilt. Like, as the story progressed, Optimus was even more sad now because of Bumblebee's death. So when he fights, he goes on this whole like personal moral thing where he has to take off his head. He wants to kill Scourge to avenge Bumblebee.
He'll like rip his head off.
Well, he pushed Scourge into a lava fall, cut off both his arms, then stuck his sword into his face and ripped his whole head out with the spinal cord. So he kept the savagery.
Yeah, about Bumblebee. So he dies, and then they put him on this rock, and then he comes back to life.
Because apparently that rock is like pure energon, so if it gets charged, you can restart his spark.
Oh, I can talk about Mirage. So when they were planning for the movie, they decided to go with a Porsche instead of I think it was an F1 car from the G1.
Mirage was also in the Michael Bay movie. He was in Dark of the Moon, and he was like a red Ferrari.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. And he had a Spanish accent. So.
Oh, I think that was Hot Rod.
No. He had an accent.
Oh, okay.
I think it was Spanish.
They went with the Porsche because it was illegal to drive an F1 racing car on the streets of New York, so they went with the Porsche. But it was neat when Mirage was talking to Noah, the human guy. He was like, "Oh, you can sell me, and I can turn into this, and that." And when he turned into an F1 racing car, that was a neat reference to the G1 cartoon. It was kind of weird, like when he turned into a
garbage
truck. Okay, about Wheeljack.
I forgot about him.
This is the character I do not like in this movie. Okay, in the G1 comics, he's in the TV show, he's like an inventor. So he like invents different gadgets that the Autobots can use. But in this movie, he's like he is a side character, but he's like a furry or something. It's like when they go to Peru, he's like, "Oh, I'm just looking at animals or something." It's like, and then he calls like Noah a racist person. I don't know why that was in the movie.
About RC.
Yeah, RC is her alt mode, like it's a motorcycle, and that's adapted from the modern TV shows, but in the original TV show she was like a futuristic car. Let's talk about Stratosphere. He's like a new character I haven't seen.
Well, they needed a way to go to Peru, so
I was thinking of like from the original TV show, I was thinking they could add in Skyfire instead of Stratosphere.
I mean, I kind of want to see a full Transformers movie without any human characters. That would be interesting, like maybe back in their home world.
You said something about the movie being had anime moments, like
Mirage basically powers up from his brother, giving him an inspirational speech.
There was another one where Noah was going to 1v1 Scourge, and then Optimus swoops in from the back and goes like, "He is not alone." They really paid attention to the choreography, which is good, because you can see obviously Noah is a lot smaller, so while Optimus does most of the actual fighting, Noah would go hack at the weak points of Scourge and like take out a joint or something like that. So they actually planned the fight sequences pretty well. Basically, the ending is setting up a potential crossover with G.I. Joe. Noah is, well, what he thought was in a job interview with the CEO of the company, who turns out to be a secret agent of, I guess, the G.I. Joe company.
Organization.
Yeah, and the dude knows everything about Noah, and Noah was always like, "What? Who are you?" And then he gave him a business card, and we flipped it around and said G.I. Joe on it.
So G.I. Joe, of course, is another Hasbro property. In the comics, they've crossed over quite a bit, but this is like the first time they cross over in like film. I heard that the movies are not very good. I think they might be worse than the Michael Bay movies. So when they cross over with it, I think Hasbro just wants the G.I. Joe franchise to like
thrive.
Yeah. Just because it's part of Transformers, and like I don't want G.I. Joe to bring down like the next movie they do with G.I. Joe and Transformers together. So I hope that movie like does well. Every Transformer has this like Mega Man Buster thing that they transform their arm into.
Except for Optimus, he mainly uses his axe and sword, which is his iconic
like
weapons.
Their ranged weapons are like all in their hand. I like what they did with the Bumblebee movie. They actually had like rifles and stuff because that's what they usually have in the TV show. The music.
Oh yeah, we can't leave out the music. Yes, we gotta talk about it.
So the Michael Bay scores are in the final battle.
Those are iconic scores.
Unicron's theme from the 1986 movie is also in the movie where he like talks with Scourge. Yeah, then the rest is just like 90s music.
Yeah, the music is iconic. I'm glad they did that as a nod to, so at least the Michael Bay movies aren't forgotten. They are important to Transformers being on the big screen, so I'm glad they include that score to like give a nod to the Bayverse, pretty much. That's pretty much our overall thoughts of the movie. I hope they make more. So, that being said, that's pretty much everything. So, now it is time to look at his collection of Transformers stuff.
So this is from a line called Transformers Masterpiece. It's a high-end line which like is also cartoon accurate to the TV shows. So here we have Optimus Primal. You can see he's very different from his movie version. Also, it's by Takara Tomy. So Takara Tomy had these toy lines which can transform in the 80s, and then Hasbro took the property and turned it into Transformers. Since then, Takara Tomy and Hasbro have been working together. This line is from Takara Tomy. That's why it's always Japanese stuff. So usually every Masterpiece comes with this card, and it shows off their tech specs, or their like how strong their firepower is, how intelligent they are. Just a neat nod to the original G1 toys because they also had that. So there's this card, Optimus Primal. 10 is the highest score. Oh yeah, I totally forgot about talking about the Maximals. So in the TV show, they are descendants of the Autobots. They were chasing after the Predacons, which are the descendants of the Decepticons, and they traveled back in time to prehistoric Earth, and that's why they have these beast forms instead of vehicles. This is Optimus Primal. You can see there's a lot of red in his design. All the Maximals in the movie didn't have ranged weapons, so here's his ranged weapon. He also has swords, but that's what it looks like. I don't have Masterpiece Cheetor because I only have a limited amount of money, but I have the original Beast Wars toy of Cheetor. There's Cheetor. Cheetor is way taller than Optimus Primal. Okay, Rhinox is like, he's really intelligent in the TV show. Also, he has a lot of strength. So this is the Transformers Generation Rhinox toy. Yeah, this is Rhinox. Very different from the movie. He's more green. He has no hammer. He has these Gatling guns. On to the Autobots. So, Wheeljack. Can't really transform him because I broke him a long time ago. This is what his G1 design is like. Last, we have the person who died in the movie. Go, Bumblebee. Masterpiece toy. This is the first version. The second version is more cartoon accurate. Also, there's a more cartoon accurate of Wheeljack. He also comes with Spike in his exosuit in the 1986 movie. There's Spike. There you go. There's Bumblebee in his classic Volkswagen. I can also show you what Wheeljack looks like. I will show you like one cover of the G.I. Joe and Transformers comics. So yeah, this is what it looks like. You can see Bumblebee is dead again. This was a collection of the Marvel Transformer comics. Brandon disappeared and it's just me left. Thanks for watching. This will probably be a very long video. Hit the bell, subscribe. See you next time.